Breaking news to bring you right now. A Cleveland County judge has come to a decision in the trial against opioid makers over the epidemic. Judge Thad Bachman announcing his decision here right now. Let's listen in.
Fielded hundreds of calls.
And there you have it, Judge Thad Bachman making his decision in this landmark trial against opioid manufacturers. The first lawsuit in the nation to go to trial over the opioid epidemic. The judge there siding with the state of Oklahoma. Let's get right to some legal analysis here. We've got attorney Noble McIntyre in the studio. This is something that people across the country, especially in the legal community, are watching.
Well, they are. I mean, it's the first case in the nation out of thousands.
Well, the state was asking for $17 billion. So this isn't even close.
No, and if you look at the stock market right now, Wall Street, the market has closed, but after hours, it's up $7 a share already, Johnson & Johnson. So that's a 5% income.
But what does this mean for those other cases kind of in the woodwork making their way to the courts? We've also got one that's going to be pushed into federal court. Are they going to get what they're asking for?
Well, you know, Oklahoma may not get what they're asked it would be.
The judge talked about that amount being going towards settling this nuisance here in the state of Oklahoma. He fully admits we've got a crisis in the number of addictions and overdoses, neonatal issues.
Right.
So what does that mean for that judgment? Who's going to get paid?
Well, that's going to, then you had the legislators.
That was Teva and Purdue Pharma.
That's exactly right. And there was some argument from the legislators with the governor on how do we do this money, who gets this money, does it go into the general fund? Then you had Medicare step in and say, now wait a minute, that was a settlement and that they would have had part of that. So Medicare stepped up and said, well, we get some of that money too. And so what the judge is doing now is saying, I'm going to control where this money goes. It's going to go into a public nuisance abatement program to help stop this nuisance, to try to start getting some treatment for some folks, instead of just saying, legislature, here's a bunch of money, go do what you want with it.
I can't imagine that would go over very well. A lot of people would want to get their hands in that pot.
Oh, don't you know it? And, you know, out of that pot, you're going to have attorney fees and costs, although I think Mike Hunter, the state, did a good job.
Certainly. All right, we want to get some reaction now to this ruling from Judge Thad Bachman there in Cleveland County. Fox 25's Dan Snyder is live in Norman right now. Dan.
Hey, Wendy, you saw it in the courtroom right there. The judge, very straightforward. The state of Oklahoma meeting its burden in this case. It seemed initial ruling going in favor of the state of Oklahoma. Wendy?
All right, Dan, you did mention hearing from the plaintiffs, Johnson & Johnson. We are expecting a press conference that we're going to bring you at 3:30. But just to reiterate, this decision today about a month after closing arguments in the trial. And so we have learned today that the judge did agree with the arguments that the state of Oklahoma making in regards to Johnson & Johnson playing a role in our state's opioid crisis and had a hand in the uptick in addictions and overdoses here in our state. And that is why they're going to be paying that judgment. We're going to have much more on this for you coming up on the Fox 25 News at 5. Of course, we'll bring you the press conference at 3:30.